All right, let's dive into a topic that honestly touches every single one of us: suffering. It can make you feel so isolated, so overwhelmed. But what if there's a deeper meaning hidden inside all that pain? Today, we're going to explore what that might be.
It's a really common feeling, isn't it? The world just keeps spinning, but you're stuck, grappling with this pain that feels like it's yours and yours alone. That feeling of isolation can be just as heavy as the hardship itself.
But here's a really powerful idea to think about. What if the universe isn't ignoring you? What if, instead, it's actually responding to you? What if your experiences are part of a much bigger, purposeful design? Let's unpack that. But okay, before we jump into finding meaning, we have to honor the reality of the situation. This isn't about pretending the pain isn't there or just slapping a spiritual band-aid on it. First, we have to sit with the pain and acknowledge just how heavy it is. It's just a fact, a fundamental part of being human. We suffer. And because we suffer, sometimes we break. We're not made of stone. The Quran even says we were created weak. We're not really designed to be invincible. And in that moment when we feel like we're shattering, that question just comes out. Where is God in all of this? It's not really a question of doubt. It's a cry for help, for connection. And here's the final twist of the knife, right? After all that, we feel guilty. Guilty for breaking, guilty for asking the question, guilty for just feeling human. We think we've failed some kind of spiritual test. But have we, really? So this brings us to a total reframing of what suffering is. What if it's not a sign that God is gone? What if it's the exact opposite? A sign that you have his complete and undivided attention. So the idea here is that your hardship isn't neglect. It's proof that you're being, well, tended to, cultivated, refined, cared for. It might feel like you've been abandoned, but the sources we're looking at frame it as an act of intense, focused attention. I mean, look at this verse. It's such a direct statement. Your Lord is in observation. And that's not some passive, distant watching from the cheap seats. It's an active, knowing, engaged observation. Nothing you're going through is missed. And this is where that feeling of being alone gets totally turned on its head. The sources insist that the moment you feel the most alone is precisely when the divine is the closest, just waiting for you to turn toward him. And this verse, wow, it just captures how complete that presence is. It's not conditional. It's not just when you're feeling strong or pious. It's always. In the quiet, in the chaos, in the moment you feel you're breaking, he is with you. Okay, now this is really interesting. There's this special category of sayings called Hadith Qudsi. It's where the Prophet Muhammad is quoting God's own words. And what's one of these direct messages from God? I am with the brokenhearted. Just think about that. Your brokenness isn't a state of disgrace. It's a station of nearness. It's where you'll find him. So if suffering is a form of divine attention, then our experience of it becomes this huge, pivotal moment. It's a crossroads, a real fork in the road, where the way we respond can shape our entire spiritual life. And there it is. That's the choice. The pain is real. The wound is absolutely real. No one's denying that. But what we choose to build from it, that's on us. Does it make us bitter and hard, or does it crack us open to something bigger? And you can see the two paths laid out so clearly here. On one side, you've got bitterness. The wound becomes who you are. You blame everyone, fate, other people, even God. You close yourself off. And you risk drifting away from the source of all healing. But on the other side, you have transformation. You're honest about your pain, for sure, but you don't let resentment take over. You actually find meaning in the struggle, and you grow softer, more humble. So if we want to choose that path of transformation, what does that actually take? This is where so many of us get tripped up because we feel this pressure to have this perfect, unshakable, stoic faith. We need to debunk that myth right now. Let's just be super clear about this. God does not expect you to be a robot. He doesn't expect you to be silent when you're in pain. He doesn't expect you to have a faith that never, ever wavers. And he absolutely does not expect you to feel nothing. That's just not the deal. And the proof is right there in the lives of the prophets. Their moments of anguish, their tears, their cries for help, those weren't signs of weak faith. Not at all. They were signs of a sincere, human heart turning to its creator when it felt most vulnerable. I mean, just listen to these examples. The prophet Jacob, who is a symbol of patience, wept so much he went blind from grief. And Mary,
in the agony of childbirth, cried out wishing she had died before that moment. These are not the words of people with weak faith. They're the raw, honest words of human beings in immense pain. So what's the real ask here? It's simple, really. Honesty. A truthful heart, even if it's a shattered one. The expectation isn't that you never fall. It's that when you do, you just keep turning back to him. Again and again and again. Okay, so knowing all of this, how do we actually walk this path? How do we do it? Let's distill everything into a practical framework for moving forward with something the source material calls grounded endurance. Here are 4 steps. First, endure with dignity. This doesn't mean bottling it up. It means standing right in the middle of the storm with presence, not panic. Trusting there's a purpose you can't see yet. Second, process with honesty. Let yourself feel it, accept the loss, feel the pain, but don't let it become your entire identity. Third, and this is a big one, reframe the narrative. Shift your question from why me, which is a victim's cry, to what can I grow from this, which is a seeker's question. And finally, ground yourself in gratitude. This is the hardest one, no doubt, especially when things are tough, but it's about training your eyes to see the mercies that are always, always there, even alongside the hardship. As we start to wrap up, I want to leave you with a couple of lines that feel less like lessons and more like prayers. This one is just so beautifully honest. It's admitting our own fragility. It's saying, I'm not questioning your plan. I'm just struggling to carry it. And this captures the whole journey we've been talking about. It's that conscious choice to move away from an identity built on pain and toward a new one built on purpose, on service, and on the kind of wisdom that you can only get by walking through fire. And so we end here with this question. After the tears are gone, after the doubts have been spoken, when everything is finally quiet, where does your soul turn? Now, that's not a question for me to answer. It's one for you to carry with you into the stillness. Thanks for digging into this with us.